Yeah, well, they definitely had a blitz package that we weren't necessarily prepared for. But at the same time, we had kind of talked about different stuff that they could do. So, obviously we had some unscouted looks, but I thought the offensive line did a great job of picking those guys up, even though they were hitting in gaps that they hadn't hit so far this season. And so it's about just being on communication throughout the game and making adjustments. I thought we did a good job of that.
Lamar, how do you get over as a team the hurdle of the Chiefs, where it seems like they're the one team that
kryptonite.
Yeah.
The marquee matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens delivered over 14 million viewers for ESPN, a 30% increase year over year. And while this game didn't have the nail-biting ending that many anticipated, neutral fans were still delighted, especially after the performances of Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes as he led his team to a 34-20 road win. In this game, you clearly got to see Mahomes at his best as he put on a clinic, juking, dancing, and jumping in and out of the pocket while throwing 4 touchdown passes and rushing 1 in. So there's definitely a lot of things we can dissect from this game, but before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, as a lot of you have told me that you're not seeing my vids on your homepage. So one way you can circumvent the YouTube algorithm would be by simply following these steps, as it tells the algorithm that you enjoy my content and want to see more of it. And lastly, I noticed only 2% of the people watching my content are actually subbed to the channel, so that's definitely something I'd like to raise to double digits. Coming into the game, Patty Mahomes and company had a record of 2-0 versus Lamar Jackson over the last couple seasons. And while their first encounter went to overtime after a 24-all stalemate, the second matchup was a bit less competitive from the final box score, as the Ravens ended up scoring 15 points in garbage time of the fourth quarter. So this matchup was built up as a showdown between two of the elite young black quarterbacks in the league, with both teams coming into the matchup 2-0, so an early perfect season was at stake. While Lamar Jackson started off strong, rushing for 30 yards on the opening drive, the Ravens were unable to score a touchdown as they decided it was too early to go for it on 4th and 3rd and took the easy 3 points instead. Throughout the game, Lamar ran the ball well as he rushed for a total of 83 yards off of 9 carries, but it was in his passing game that hampered the Ravens' offense. Jackson was unable to get the offense rolling and finished the game with a total of 97 passing yards while completing 15 of 28 passes. And this kind of brings the spotlight to a glaring problem in the Ravens team, as Greg Roman's offense is really built to play with the lead. Playing on schedule 2nd and 5 or 3rd and short, this offense has always had a tough time coming from behind, as evident last season when they couldn't get it going after trailing early in weeks 3 and 4 and in the playoffs. So on Monday night, when all they could muster early on were field goals, Lamar really struggled, and it was apparent that in the third quarter that they were simply going to take their first loss of the season. Also, it didn't help when tight end Mark Andrews dropped a possible touchdown pass that came in a critical moment of the game. Next, we have to give credit to the coaching staff in Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. These two clearly had their team well prepared, and I'm going to be honest, some of the plays the Chiefs drew up were simply brilliant. Especially the fake screen at the goal line where Mahomes underpasses it to fullback Anthony Sherman for the touchdown. Basically, it seemed as if Andy Reid was playing chess while John Harbaugh was playing checkers. The Ravens' highly touted defense simply had no answers for the Chiefs' offense. And you think after 2 losses to Patrick Mahomes, the Ravens would be able to drop a defensive game plan to stop this offense, but I guess this just shows you how elite Patrick Mahomes and this offense really is. All throughout the night, Andy's play calls were spot on, and one particular play caught my attention when they attacked Marcus Peters, knowing he would jump on Tyreek's underneath crossing route, leaving safety Deshaun Elliott hanging high and dry for a wide-open Mecole Hardman touchdown. Marcus Peters played a season with Mahomes in 2017, and I'm going to say that both Andy Reid and Patty Mahomes both knew of Marcus's tendencies of jumping on routes to grab that interception. Now on to the man of the hour, Patrick Mahomes, who clearly rose on the biggest stage on Monday Night Football and put on a show. Mahomes was facing a blitz on almost half of the snaps, but his pocket awareness and movement outside of the pocket were simply amazing. On many occasions, whether he was moving to his right or left, Mahomes would sling the ball to his receivers to gain yards. We would even see his classic jump in the air toss over the defensive lineman to push the Chiefs' offense forward. On top of that, the Super Bowl champ threw 2 deep TD passes to both Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman and finished the game with 4 touchdowns, bringing his season total to 13 and 1 behind Russell Wilson. Guys, let me know in the comments section who you think is the current frontrunner for the league MVP, as these two along with Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen are pretty much neck and neck. One other stat that clearly gave the Chiefs the edge in this game was that their offense went 10 of 13 on 3rd downs. I don't care who the opposing team is, if you're letting up that many 3rd down chances slip away, it's going to be very hard for any team to win a game. And finally, one part of the team I don't think is getting much credit for is the Chiefs' offensive line. They were simply outstanding Monday night up against a lot of pressure. They did not give up a sack, and for the most part, Mahomes had a lot of time in the pocket. When he was facing the blitz, Mahomes went 15 for 19 for 191 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. The Chiefs' run game also closed the game with a total of 132 rushing yards. So with all that being said, what does this game really mean? While psychologically for Lamar Jackson, I think this really affects him after going 0-3 against one of his closest rivals. And with both teams being in the AFC, they're surely going to encounter each other many more times throughout their career. On top of that, Lamar after the game would even go on to call the Chiefs team his kryptonite, and this obviously is going to raise more questions from the media about Lamar's character and toughness. He was the unanimous MVP last season and a Super Bowl favorite after leading his team to a 14-2 record, but after 2 consecutive playoff games where he underperformed, I know the media are going to unfairly call his performances in big games into question. For me personally, the guy's played 2.5 seasons, and his first playoff game versus the Chargers, I can't really fault him for that as he was simply a rookie. But obviously last year's playoffs, there was much more expectation after the season he had, and yeah, he did come up small as he got blown out 28-12. But he's still very young and learning, so I'd like to give him another season or two before labeling him as a choker. For Patrick Mahomes, this game just gets added on to an already impressive resume throughout his short against a very well-coached team. Their game in Buffalo in Week 6 will be another tough matchup, having to travel all the way upstate against a very solid team. This game will see 2 of the leading quarterbacks for the league MVP in Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. These teams last met in 2017, where the Bills came out on top by a score of 16-10, but with Patrick Mahomes now under center for the Chiefs, we may see a different final result. Anyways, that's it for this video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, and in return, I'll keep dropping these gems.
And then the cameras caught you counting to 4 on your hands. I wonder if that had anything to do with your ranking on the NFL Top 100 this offseason.
I think there was like 4 touchdowns in the game, I think, at that point.
Go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Congrats, Pat. 2 really unique touchdowns went to Anthony Sherman and then later in the game to Eric Fisher. I was wondering if you could just kind of go through both plays, how the recipient reacted, especially Fisher toward the end there. It was really uncommon to see him score.
Yeah, the first one to Sherm, we'd actually had ran it my first year starting against the Patriots, and they had accidentally covered it because the guy was just following the ball, and so we kind of been hanging on to that one, trying to find the right opportunity. And I thought Coach Reed did a great job of calling it there on that down and distance and to get that touchdown. Coach Reed and Eric Bieniemy and Coach Bieniemy, and so that one was good. And then the other one was a play that we worked on in training camp that we had drawn up, and I thought Fish did a great job of reporting and then making a heck of a catch because he was more open in practice. So, I mean, I had to throw it there high for him, and he made a great catch on it.